Okay, so for those of you who still were having trouble or possibly were having some glitchy issues when we were doing today's class session, I'm just going to go through some of the things that we talked about during class, and you can watch this at your leisure so that you can rewind it and replay it as needed. So the first most important thing that you need to remember is when you're in your blank Google slide, you're going to open up File. You're going to scroll all the way down to where it says Page Setup and check how I have this set up. Where it says Custom for me, it might start out as widescreen or standard. You're going to change it to Custom. The first box needs to be 2.4. The second box needs to be 4.2. And then in the last box, you want to click to make sure that it says inches. As soon as you have that all set up, you can hit apply and it will bring you to your slide. Now, of course, you can go ahead and delete on the extra text boxes that you have there. Now, we want to insert a picture for our background. Remember, we are not using the background button. You can insert, go to image, and then choose where you want to find the picture for your background, whether that's from your device or you're uploading it from your computer or perhaps searching the web. Like I said in an earlier class, I like sugar skulls and creepy things. So that's what I'm going to search for. You search for whatever image that you personally like. I'm going to click and drag it on over to my slide. Okay. If you need to crop your picture, I actually learned something new today. When you click on that picture, I'm going to get rid of this so it's out of the way so it shows everything. If you want to crop this picture for whatever reason, you can use the crop image button, this little thing here that looks like a square or two lips. All right, so if you have some extra background, once you click on that, you're going to have some black handles that you can move around to crop your picture with. And then when you click off the picture, it can crop your picture. Today I learned how to crop my picture to a shape. So if you're a person who has a photograph of yourself and you want to make it a circle, you can click this little arrow here and choose any of the shapes, and it will crop that picture to a shape. Let me go ahead and insert that picture again. And I'm going to stretch it and make it as big as my slide. Go ahead and use those little blue buttons to stretch it for your background. Now, for adding in text, say you would like to use word art. Word art is probably the best thing to use because it makes block or bubble letters. I'm going to type Mrs. Swiss because that's just me and hit enter. And there you see it, it pops it right in, and you can resize it. You can change the font. Let me get rid of this so that you can see all my features and change it to a different font. If you want to change it to a different color, you can go ahead and change it to a different color. Perhaps the next thing over is the border color, that little pencil. You want to change the outline. The 3 lines here, if you want to change how thick that outline is, you could go ahead and choose a different thickness for your outline. The next common question most people are asking me are, how do I put that little frame in? Very simply, go to the shape tool right here, that circle with the square. I choose the second square in, that's the rounded rectangle, and I'm going to go ahead and draw that right on my slide. All right, now it's going to make a solid box. To make it like a frame, you want to click the bucket and transparent, and it'll make it clear so you can see what you're doing and your background. You can change that border color to whatever you want, and same thing, use those 3 lines again to change the thickness. I'm actually going to change that to black because I think that'll show up better for me. Oops, I filled it black. My bad. Wrong button. This happens. We are all learning as we go. All right. Now, another common question was, Mrs. Swistak, how do I add in a Bitmoji. Remember, Bitmoji is something that you have to ask a parent or guardian for permission for, and you have to create an account on a non-school device. Bitmoji is blocked on school devices. So what you would have to do after you sign up for your Bitmoji, link it to a Google account that is not a school account, and then you would probably have to copy it and paste it into an email. So once you have your Bitmoji created, right up here at the top of my screen, that's where my little happy face lives because I am linked through my Google account. And then I can choose any of my Bitmojis that I want to stick in as my picture. So I'm going to click and drag my Bitmoji here. If you were doing this from an email because you emailed this to yourself, then of course you would copy and paste. Another thing that I showed you how to do was how to format your shape to add that cool drop shadow. So you're going to go to Format, choose your format options, and click the drop shadow. Open up that little menu and it'll give you some options to either change the color of the shadow. You can make the color of the shadow darker. You can change the angle depending on what side you want that shadow to be on. And you can also change the distance. The distance is how far away it looks from the ID that it is sitting on. Now, if you cannot create your own Bitmoji account because you are blocked on a student advice, do remember that you have other options to choose from. It does not have to be a Bitmoji, but it should be a picture that looks close to what you look like. So perhaps you have a photograph that you would like to use, or perhaps you have a picture somebody suggested. Can I use a picture that I've drawn? Absolutely. Another thing some folks are asking me is, Mrs. Swistak, how do I put one thing on top of the other? So say I want my Bitmoji apple there in the middle of a star shape, and I can find the star shape in the callouts section. So I'm going to choose the callout shape. I'm going to click the star and draw it on my slide, and I'm going to arrange it so that it can fit on my slide. And then I can go ahead and put my Bitmoji over top. Now notice what happened. It went behind the star. So what you want to do is make sure that if that happens, that you click on the thing that you want in the front. So let me put my star back there. I'm going to click on my Bitmoji. I'm going to click Arrange. I'm going to click Order and Bring to Front. And that's going to bring my picture right on top of everything so that it looks like my little apple is on top of the star. Now, don't forget, you have certain requirements to fulfill. Please check slide 16 in your digital notebook on the classwork tab in your classroom. That'll tell you all the requirements that you need to remember to put on your slide. Some of them are a picture. You need to have your name. Here's my completed one from earlier that I showed you. All right. My Mrs. Swistak faculty one that I laminated has Mrs. Swistak. It has my homeroom number, which for me is room 218. If you don't know the room number of your homeroom, which would be your first period teacher, type the teacher's name. You need to have Rowway Academy, and you need to have your grade. I put faculty as my grade because I'm not a 7th or an 8th grader. I'm a teacher. But where I have faculty, that would be something that you would put as 7th or 8th grade. When you are finished, you're going to save or attach your Google slide to the Create Your Own ID assignment on Google Classroom. I have posted instructions on how to do that from both Google, something I found on Google, and I also got instructions from our tech facilitator who gave us a nice PDF document on how to attach items to an assignment in Google Classroom and how it looks for you. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope this video was helpful for you. At least you can now watch it at your own time and at your own pace, at your own pace, when maybe the internet is working better for you. All right, lesson learned for me. I will try and create some videos so that as we work through things, you'll be able to go back and see what I'm talking about and see how I did things.